October 17th, we're going to be going over LSU and Ole Miss this weekend. They're going to be playing. We'll have recap the last game from last Saturday between Ole Miss and Auburn. We'll have Brian Kelly's press conference, and also we'll have Lane Kiffin's press conference. So if you can hear me, please let me know. I'm going to see if we got sound before we start. Please let me know. Looks like we do have sound. Please let me know. Yep, we got sound. So let's go ahead and go over to the recap from last week. Ole Miss taking on Auburn. So we're going to go ahead and recap that game for you. So let me drop the screen, drop this down, and I'll put it up on the screen.
When the creepies are crawling and the spirits start calling, Specs is a haven for all that you're craving.
They snap the ball every 20 seconds or so. It's a huge challenge.
Okay, kickoff right. They start the kickoff.
As a fair catch, it seems, was signaled.
So it was a fair catch. So Ole Miss, let's go ahead and break this down. Ole Miss in the shotgun formation. One tight end to in front of the quarterback. And then the wide receivers, two wide receivers to your left. So they're going to run the ball right here. So they're going to run a middle run right here. And they're going to get some yards off that. But it's going to be a keeper. It was a keeper. So it was a keeper. He takes it around the right side.
Finds a crease and gets upended at the 37-yard line of Auburn. Jet sweep.
So this is a jet sweep right here. Once again, jet sweep by the Ole Miss Rebels. This was on first and 10. Nice little run. So nice little run by the Ole Miss Rebels. But the truth of the matter is, when you play this team, you better be careful, because they're going to run those jet sweeps. They're also going to run those quarterback keepers as well.
Finally pushed out at the 40-yard line by Donovan Kaufman.
Great job blocking on the lead front with both Mingo and Casey Kelly, the jet sweep, and then Wade.
Goes down and five.
Okay, Auburn in the I formation, one back in the backfield. Let's see what happens. Ole Miss has one side, excuse me.
They get to the edge.
And they make their first down.
Down to the 45-yard line. He has 8 more. Marcus Harris over.
Okay, shotgun formation. One back in the backfield, so it's two wide receivers.
Sideline, as you can see. See if he gets back in there for their defense. Here comes the blitz. They screen behind it.
So they had a nice little blitz right there against Auburn. So nice little blitz going in. So it was an excellent blitz call. There was a nice little interception for Ole Miss in that on that last play.
That looks like he did.
A bit of pressure on Ashford early on his left side. He's trying to get it to Bigsby, and then Finley does a great job. Here's the thing. You really want, if you're Ashford, to pull the string down. Imagine pulling the string of the light. Does Finley get his arm underneath? What great athleticism. You want to pull that ball down to allow a little bit of air on that throw, to allow Bigsby to adjust to it.
Okay, Ole Miss back on offense.
Now back to the offense, another jet
So they'll run another jet sweep. So this is the second jet sweep they've been running right there. So that's another defensive woe right there for LSU to be concerned about. It's that jet sweep, because they will run that time and time again. And also they'll most likely will throw. The first couple of plays I seen was a quarterback keeper and 2 jet sweeps. So that's something right there. Okay,
play action.
This is the first play action pass.
Dart. He wants the deep shot. Wide open.
So nice little pass, wide open. So they'll throw the ball as well. Don't get misconstrued and think they're going to run that ball 9 times out of 10. I don't think they will do that. They're also going to mix it up with the pass. So that was a pretty good touchdown pass by Ole Miss.
That's an Ole Miss touchdown.
Start with motion, okay? You motion down. What happens is when you motion down, you create leverage. See the split, the receiver right here? This receiver's going to be the guy in the double move. Now watch. He's going to push vertical right now. He's going to go out and then vertical. Beautiful job. Now I've got the corner. He turns thinking I'm going to run the out route. I've created that space off the cut split. And then Dayton Wade.
Okay, Ole Miss.
Play action. Dart with a pump fake. Pocket starting to collapse.
So he goes down on that play. So a good defensive play by Auburn to get the sack on the Ole Miss quarterback.
Down he goes. Again, good coverage downfield.
Okay, this is on 2nd and 15. So he throws a deep, nice little deep pass right there. So they're going to throw those deep passes to number 11. So he's going to get that reception every single time.
Saved perfectly to Jordan Watkins. Well-designed play.
Doesn't mean you should. If you can live in that world that we just saw last play, you've got a very bright future.
Okay, they're going to run a nice little pass play right there. That's number 6 getting the reception. So you got to stop number 6 right there. You definitely got to keep your eye on him because he's going to catch the ball when that pass is thrown to him.
Auburn's defense, they've got another touchdown.
Okay, Auburn in the shotgun. They have one wide receiver to your left. No, 2. Excuse, 1 to your left and 1 to your right. So let's see what happens on this play.
4-man rush.
4-man rush.
Finley,
and he goes down. So a good defensive play by the Ole Miss Rebels to get the quarterback down. So that was an excellent play. That was on 3rd and 6.
Wrapped up again by Tavius Robinson. And turn it into points.
Okay,
Evans again.
he runs the ball right into the end zone. So that was Evans. Nice little run by Evans to get into the end zone for the touchdown. Okay, Auburn 3-man rush. So try to.
Rush gets through. Again, Ashford extending the play. Floats one down the sideline.
So a nice little extension play right there after they had a 3-man rush. Ole Miss. So if you can make some plays that will make them, if they run a 3-man rush or a 4-man rush, you can make a nice little pass play, turn into some yards.
Terrifically done. Carmore breaks free. Well, there's the improvisational ability of Robbie Ashford.
Okay, shotgun formation. He'll drop back.
Ashford looks over the middle, fires a bullet inside the 5-yard line.
So a nice little pass by Ashford against the Ole Miss defense. So that was a good. I mean, you can't come with a good play like that.
Kelly, 1st and goal, down to the 2.
Okay, nice little.
Keeper.
So it's a quarterback keeper. They get in the end zone for a touchdown. So it's a quarterback keeper. So, like I said, if Jaden Daniels would run the quarterback keeper, I think he will get in the end zone against the Ole Miss defense.
And it's a touchdown for Robbie Ashford. Just what Auburn needed.
So run play coming up here.
It's Bigsby.
So Bigsby on the carry.
Bigsby across midfield and finally
So
wrestled.
nice little run right there. So that was against the Ole Miss defense.
Hunter into the secondary again. An extra gear down the sideline.
So a nice little run right there.
Down to about the 5-yard line before he's run out. They'll mark him out at the 3. It'll be 1st and goal, Tigers. 2nd down and goal. Bigsby, cut back.
So Bixby tries to go in.
At the goal line. He's across. An Auburn touchdown. How about this response down 21-0. Back-to-back scores. They've got 166 yards of offense and a couple of touchdowns here in the 2nd quarter.
He was really springboarded off that one big-time scramble and throw to
So the kickoff return right here.
Short kick.
So nice little special teams play.
Knox gets run out of bounds. 3rd down and goal.
You got to pay attention to this bunch set. If your Auburn defense
Bunch set right there. So they was running a bunch.
Swing pass.
Nice little swing pass to get him in the end zone.
Knocks it in. Touchdown. Running away is Ashford. Loses his footing and goes down. A broken play.
So nice little sack play by Ole Miss.
Unaccounted for. Play action. He wanted to set the screen up and finally does.
So a nice little screen pass.
Lost the football.
But they lost the football. Auburn got the ball back.
It looks like it's an Auburn takeaway.
Auburn is there. Dirt that football if you're Jackson Dart. Even if he catches that ball, the rhythm, the timing, the basis of the play is off. It's popped all over the field. And keep
Bigsby.
So it gets a nice little run right here.
It's a crease. Inside the 30. With a cutback. Breaks a tackle. Cutback for Zach Evans.
Nice little run right there.
Gets across the midfield stripe. Play action. Back of the end zone. Looking for Mingo and 2 players for Auburn. Absolutely.
So that was incomplete on that pass play.
It's lucky for Jackson Dart. I mean, he's just throwing this ball no matter what. The defense does not bite. There's great coverage. Thankfully, he throws it
From 23 yards out. It's right down the middle. So the Ole Miss lead back up to a touchdown, but a stop in the red zone for the Auburn defense.
So 3rd and 3.
Right up the middle goes Dart, a terrific fake. Into the red
So a
zone
nice little run right there
at the 12-yard line.
by the quarterback.
Judkins again. Bulldogs his way. And a push. Down in the end zone for a touchdown.
So a nice little run.
freshman year.
Only a 3-man rush.
3-man rush.
Pocket, eyes down.
Throws a nice little pass play right there. So it's a good little pass play they got.
Second catch of the season. And what a big one it is. 34 yards.
You're going to get this, release, and that. Watch this safety at the bottom of the screen, the top of the screen. He drives, he's going to replace him, and then it's a huge chunk by Robbie Ashford. Allow him or force him to tuck the ball and become a runner.
Okay, 2nd and goal.
2nd and goal from the 11.
They'll try to run it into the end zone. Nice little run for the touchdown.
Robbie Ashford has an Auburn touchdown. The middle, no one home for Auburn.
So this is another nice little run right here by the Ole Miss Rebels for the touchdown. That was
How about the offensive line, though? Those 3 guys don't do it by themselves. They needed it. Judkins gave it to them. Rebels up 14 at home.
so 4th and 10.
Ole Miss. Spinning out is Ashford, being chased to the sideline. Throws one into traffic, and it's intercepted.
So intercepted by Auburn. So once again, your final score, Auburn loses 48-34 was your final. So that was, let's go ahead and give you some stats from this game. So I'm going to pull these stats up right now. I got them up on my screen. So we're going to go through the stats from last okay, rushing yards. Ole Miss had 448 yards rushing. They also had 130 yards receiving, and they also had 130 passing. That was good for 578 yards. That was in last Saturday's game. That was against Auburn. So I'd say this: 578 yards is no slouchy exception. So that's what happened in that game last Saturday. Now we're going to give you the now in the game they had Ole Miss had 3 sacks in the game last Saturday. They had 48 points in that game. So 48-35 was your score in that one. So they had pass defense. They had 6 interceptions. So that was a good. They had breakups. They had 31, and they had 3 sacks in that game last week. Now Auburn had 301 yards rushing. Also, they had 140 yards receiving and 140 yards passing. So they had 441 yards against the Ole Miss defense. So, like I said, if they can, LSU can put up over 400 yards against the Ole Miss. Like I said, the time is like I said, the time's of the essence. So that's your stats from last. Okay, this is all-purpose yards. So I'm going to see if I can get the quarterback. Quarterback stats. I'm going to go ahead and put that up on the screen. Just give me a second. I'm just trying to get the stats up. Okay, I'm going to give you the individuals game stats. I'm going to give you those in just a second. Let me put that up on my screen. Give you the individual stats. Okay, individual stats on the screen. Your leading rusher is Jutkin. He has average of 6.0. Also, Evans has an average of 6.1. So he's got 7 touchdowns. Also, Dart has also Dart has 7. He has no touchdowns, but he's running 371 yards, so he's a good runner. Also, Ulysses Bentley has 14 carries for 76 yards. He's averaging 5.4 yards a carry. So that's on the rush. Now the pass. Okay, Jason, let's give you his numbers. I'll pull it screen, put it up to the screen. Okay, Jason, drop this back a little bit. Okay, Jackson Dart, he's averaging 11 touchdowns. He has 6 interceptions. His quarterback rating is he's averaging 212 yards a game. So this is a quarterback you have to be very aware of with his running ability and stuff like that. Now we'll give you his receivers. Okay, Mingo's averaging 23.0 catches. Also, Malik Help has 23 catches for 346. He has 3 scores. Jordan Watkins has 1 touchdown, but he also has an average of 14.63. And Trigg has 17 catches for 156 yards. He's also has 3 scores. Now, Dalton Wade had 1 touchdown. And also Evans has 1 touchdown in this game on 6 catches. So that is your wide receiver core for the Ole Miss Rebels. And I'll give you the defensive players. Okay, your main sack leader is on this team is let's see, is J.J. Hawkins, and also Jarrett Ivory, and also let's see what else has, and then Reese Otis Reese has another has 2.5 sacks. So this team so far has 19 sacks for 136 yards. So that's something right there. They're pretty good on those pass defenses. So I say this about Ole Miss. This team is a very complex team. I'm gonna tell you right now. This is not a run-of-the-mill ball club. This is a very good team. That this in for in a second. Let me switch it in to Coach Kelly. We'll put it up on the screen. We'll
Jess wanted to start a business.
Jess, you need to sell those.
And then this happened.
Oh my gosh, I just made my first sale!
You see, every day, hundreds.
Afternoon. How are y'all doing? All right. Just a quick recap. Certainly great atmosphere at the Swamp. Our guys needed to think about the right things going into that game. I thought that they were confident. I thought they thought about how to win the game. I thought that they maintained that throughout the game, even though there was some adversity. I thought they kept their emotions in check. I think those are really important. I think I talked about those last week. When you go on the road, you have to eliminate distractions, and from all the things that go on and pregame, during the game, there's a lot of distractions. I thought they did a very good job. I think the sideline was excellent. Guys really being positive with each other during the game. Those all go to, getting through the highs and lows of a game when you're on the road and the crowd's involved in it. So proud of our football team and the way they managed themselves and handled themselves in that situation. And then, offensively, we executed very well. Defensively, we came up with some stops when we needed them. Clearly on the offensive side of the ball, we've got to eliminate some mistakes up front. We've got to be cleaner. And I think defensively it's pretty clear it's the big play, eliminating the big plays. But again, execution-wise, our best performance offensively, and then we'll look to build on that in terms of consistency of performance, and then defensively, cleaning up the big plays. I think that's it. And special teams, I think we'll all see the same thing. First play of the game, we let the ball outside the defense. We've got to contain it on a kickoff, and then we muff a punt. So those guys know they have to obviously be accountable, and we've got to put them in a position to succeed. We'll keep coaching it, and we know we've got to get better there. So, move on to Ole Miss. Obviously, another top 10 team coming into the stadium, and we're excited about the challenge. It's an outstanding football team, well coached. Lane does a great job with obviously the offense, but overall, a very confident football team. Been playing well. Undefeated. It's an offense that is, systematic in its play calling. What they're trying to do, the pieces fall together quite nicely, and very talented. The quarterback, is a true double threat quarterback. Dart can throw it. He can run. He's complemented with two outstanding backs, big receivers, and a very, very balanced attack. They can run it equally as well as they throw it, and so I have a lot of respect for what they do. Defensively, they're in, a 3-down defense. We don't see a ton of what they do. They do what they do well, I think they get pressures. I think they're second in the SEC in sacks. So difficult sometimes to know where they're coming from. We'll have to do a really good job with protections, scanning, and taking care of our quarterback. So excited to be at home. I know our guys want to obviously play well at home before our home fans. And again, look forward to another challenge. It's going to dress like a clown. But I think if you keep betting, you get what you deserve there, because I think he's 0 for 4. In that situation, I think Pete should just up the ante at this point, and make sure that there's no dress that he comes out in next time. And then there won't be any more betting.
Not every coach probably would have played along. I mean, but you seem like you're someone who's like, hey, look, this is a hard business, and you have to make a lot of sacrifices. You can enjoy yourself once in a while. I mean, is that kind of the attitude you like to have?
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's so many rivalries, right, in this conference between, this is another rivalry game, the Magnolia Trophy. Come on now. Get me the first time, right? You're not going to get me a second time. But, there's just so many different rivalries, and, those two obviously have them. We saw Marcus Spears had a friendly bet with somebody. I was made aware of that. So, it's just, there's such passion in college football, and especially down here in the SEC. I love watching that, and so it just makes sense to allow them to continue to have those kinds of inside bets, and I can play along for a few minutes.
Hey, Brian, you coached against Lane Kiffin. Obviously, when he was at SC, you were at Notre Dame. It's been 10 years, but
yeah.
What's it like to coach against him? How much maybe has he changed from then to now?
Well, he's a creative coach offensively, and they always have been cutting edge in terms of what they do. And he's a guy that gets his team playing hard. I mean, they play hard. Offensively, there's always an answer to what you do in game as well. But I think more importantly, they scout you out. I mean, you better know your own self-scouting and where your tendencies are, because he's going to really dial in on if there's anything that you do. If you do anything defensively, he is going to analyze that and have an answer for it. So you got to be very good at your self-scout.
Hey, Coach, this past game you fall behind 7-0. You've got a 3rd and long, and Daniels makes that deep throw to Booty. Are you a believer in a play like that when you make it early on? Does a lot for your confidence in terms of, moving forward? If you don't make that play, maybe you don't have the success that you had?
Yeah, look, we've been at this, this had been the 7th game, and we've been confronted with those situations and haven't made them, but I don't think that there was any hesitation that we wouldn't go back to it, because those two have been working hard in practice and trying to build that, that relationship where, we find you. And if you remember in that situation, he kind of found some green grass, and he was going to be the primary on that play, and Jaden got flushed out of the pocket, but he kept his eyes looking for him, and it was really the first time when those two found each other, if you will, in terms of, getting the ball. And then that drive, quite frankly, we had a lot of mistakes. We made a lot of mistakes. That drive ended up in the end zone because of those two guys. They made big plays, and that's what sometimes you need, is your big-time players have to step up. And I think that was the first time this year that our best players stepped up to that level and made plays.
20 years of heartbreaks and heartaches, sleepless nights, and the greatest victories.
just after the film review, I guess that's kind of my question. Do you feel like that was a step up for the entire team offensively, or was it just the next step?
Yeah, I think it's got to be part of what we continue to grow towards. There's going to be times where guys just got to step up and make plays, and we had been kind of grinding it out, like, we were trying to fight for every blade of grass, and sometimes you just got to make some plays. The big touchdown, throw to Jeray Jenkins,
Yeah, hey, Coach Ravi here. Second top 10 team you guys welcome here in 2 weeks. Just what lessons can you take away from maybe the last time you played a top 10 team here, and just whether it's in preparation, whether it's in focus, mentality, just what kind of lessons can you take away from that last one?
Well, each week this team is learning so much and growing. Unfortunately, they learned from the Tennessee loss, and nobody really wants to be learning lessons after a loss, but they learned a lot about intentionality and purpose in terms of their preparation, and we saw that during the week, and it carried over to the way they played on the road. I think then you win on the road in the fashion that they did, you build more confidence in your football team. So I think 2 weeks later, it's, I don't want to say a different team, but it's a team that has confidence. It's a team that knows that if they don't play clean, if they don't have an attention to detail, they'll have similar results that they did against Tennessee. So I guess what I'm saying is that it's not a different team, but it's a team that has grown from the last couple of weeks. And if they take that knowledge into their preparation this week and into the game and their performance, then we should have one really fine football team.
Hey, Coach, over here to your left. Can you talk about, what you saw from the DB room this past weekend and just how much they progressed in SEC play?
I thought, there were some good things that we got to continue to work on. Obviously, big plays. We got to tackle better. I think it starts there. Obviously we gave up a big play early on, right out of the gates. We got to stay on top of the coverage there. So it's kind of a mixed bag right now. I'd like to stand up here and tell you that everything's great, and we're ready to, enshrine them all into the College Football Hall of Fame, but that's just not the case. I mean, it's work in progress, and we got to continue to get better at both, the corner and safety and nickel position. But I think it starts with the fundamentals, leverage, staying on top of the football, and tackling, quite frankly. This is, I don't want to make it simple, but it's not that hard. We've got to get better in the fundamentals. If we get better in the fundamentals, we'll be better on the back end of our defense.
Ryan, over here. Will Campbell received SEC Offensive Lineman of the Week.
Thank you for bringing that up. I appreciate it.
When was the last time you remember in your career playing two freshman offensive tackles on the line, and why don't true freshmen typically play in this position?
I don't think I ever have, but I'm having a hard time, with last week in memory. So 32 years, 33 years. I don't believe I've ever started two freshmen, period, on an offensive line, but to have two tackles in the SEC is quite unusual. Again, I think I talked about this last week. It's not necessarily the physical. Although they have the physical, because you cannot play in this league unless you have physical traits. These guys are too fast, they're too big, they're too strong. They'll walk you back to the quarterback if you're not physically strong enough. And Emory Jones and Will Campbell physically have the traits to go in the weight room and be as strong as anybody that we have, and are able to move their feet to obviously get out and set these guys. They're going to miss a couple, right? We got beat inside on a couple of times that they counter-moved us. But these guys are extraordinary in their ability to move on to the next play. They focus and then refocus. So their mental approach to the game is so far above any freshman that I'm used to having. They generally, have that look in their eyes right about now that they're done. These guys are anxious for more, and that's unusual.
Brian, that Ole Miss runs that kind of Baylor offensive scheme, the old Baylor.
There's a lot of similarities.
I guess because they have so much success in the run game, what does that kind of scheme do that makes stopping the run so difficult?
Perimeter, now they got one-on-one matchups that they can throw the football. So, Auburn was trying to stop, the passing game, and then they were a little soft to the run game. They run for 400 yards. You cannot win games giving up 400 yards rushing. So, well, you can, but you're playing the game, up and down the field. So it's just it's an offense that has been set up, obviously to, force the ball outside, but they have a quarterback now that can run it so effectively as well. They threw the ball last year because they had a great quarterback in Corral. This is a different quarterback, and so that's what Lane does well. He's going to set his offense based upon who the player is. It's not about plays, it's about players for him, and he changes based upon who he has, and he's got a quarterback that is a real dual threat.
I actually just broke up with my boyfriend this morning.
Oh, dude.
No, it's not. It's not like that. I'm not upset.
Were you not together?
Coach, the Ole Miss's running game has gotten a lot of the credit this year. Obviously, ran over 400 yards last week. What have you seen out of Jackson Dart in that passing game for what you've seen so far?
Well, he's a pure, if he was in a different, and I played against him, in a pure passing spread offense. He's a beautiful thrower of the football. He is, California, throw the football. He has all those traits. But he's also athletic enough and can run that they've put him now in a system where he becomes a dual threat. So, we've played Hooker. We played Richardson. We're going to play Jefferson. These are big body, thick, physical quarterbacks, right? That are not, look, they're all really good quarterbacks that can throw, but they don't throw like this kid. This kid has the ability to drop back, 50 times if they wanted to and throw the football.
Hey, Coach, about Josh Williams, he's just an incredible story, a former walk-on, and in a performance where Jaden Daniels had 6 touchdowns, he had 6 straight offensive touchdowns on the first 6 possessions. Why was it important to give the game ball to Josh Williams for his play on Saturday?
So the theme all week was attention to detail, and so his attention to the smallest of details in that game helped us win, and I wanted to make sure that kind of was followed up, with the game ball. We asked our back to chip a lot, off those defensive ends to help those young tackles that we just talked about. And, he's not 6'2". So when you talk about him having to chip, he's got to leave his feet to chip. But he was outstanding at it. He stopped the charge of defensive ends, caught the ball coming out of the backfield, picked up blitzers, actually picked up the defensive end by himself a couple of times when we missed a slide, ran the ball coming out in the third quarter with authority that gave us great momentum. Just a little bit of everything. All the little jobs that you ask him to do, he does them, and sometimes he does them for the first time. That's over 100 yards for the first time for him. So we wanted to reward him in kind.
Brian, just real quick, Jack Besh and Armani Goodwin, what's their status this week?
Jack is he's day to day. He's got the same back situation, which is an L5. It's cranky. Hopefully we can get him up and going. He's a tough guy. Hopefully we can get him loose enough where he can play. And Armani, we're going to practice him on Tuesday and see what we can get. He wants to play, and our doctors have cleared him. We'll see what kind of volume we can get out of him, and hopefully it goes well during the week.
And then when you talk about just like the chunk plays on defense and giving those up, how do you go about cleaning that up? Is it as simple as tackling? Like
you saw it, right? We tried to punch the ball loose twice on Richardson. You got to tackle him. That's a commitment. And really focus on just doing our job. We're going to be much better at the defensive end.
I guess I haven't watched in detail every game of how you've been on the sidelines, but it looked like you kind of had like a little cheat sheet or note set with you when you were going through the game. I just was wondering kind of what went into that.
Situational football, mostly situational calls. Mike called a great game, I thought. I'm just looking at situational calls and just reminding the quarterback, talking to Mike, talking to Matt, mostly on situational calls.
Coach, down here, a couple of things. Do you mention to the team at all potentially tying for the West lead this week? And also the Brian Thomas catch that was overturned. Have you gotten a sufficient explanation for that?
No, we won't talk about tying for the West. I think it's too early to talk in terms of that. I think there's just too much football left to be played. What we're going to talk about is how we play better at home in front of our fans against the top 10 team. I mean, our focus will be on ourselves more so than what that means. Then we get a week off to kind of assess, and then we'll kind of put the next 4 weeks kind of in perspective, and maybe we'll start to talk about it from that sense. I have not. There were some things that happened in that game that just, my biggest concern is that we're just slowing the game down. We're already, look, we got to pay the bills. I get it. It's 4-3 with timeouts. That's not going away, or we're going to be, obviously not paying anybody anything. So, but to stop the game for so many reviews and most of them to be the play stands as called. It just takes away the flow of the game, and hopefully it's something that we can look at the end of the season. Maybe it can be instant replay on scoring plays only, or change of possession, and then if you feel like it's egregious, throw your red flag out there. But it just seems like we're slowing the game down. But that'll be a topic that we can have after the season ends.
Your face is like...
Don't lose your when building an online store. Use Shopify.
Hey, Brian. This is a little layered, but can you explain how you all go through the play call operation? Does Mike have complete autonomy? How involved are you, and were you more involved Saturday than you had been prior?
Mike calls all the good plays, and I call all the great plays. So it comes down from Mike, and Cortez. Obviously, he's got him on the sideline, but they're going through our signalers. So I'm hearing them, and I'm just making. Look, there's a couple of voices. One, obviously is enough. You can't have 3 or 4 voices when you're getting the play and you're getting into a flow. The one thing, and I've been a play caller, you can't get a million suggestions going. You've got to let a play caller go. And for me, I'm reminding him on whether we're going for it on 4th down and what we need to go for it on 4th down, how many yards. Hey, we're going for it on 4th and 3 here, so you can run it twice. I'll give him suggestions like that during the series. And other than that, kind of allow him to keep in the flow of the game. I'm reminding him of time and timeouts and really time management issues more than anything else. Other than that, play calling is it's an art and a science, but you can't get in the way of the art of it.
Hey, Coach, I want to ask you a couple about your specialists there. Ramos, I know he's only tried 6 field goals all year, but that seemed to be a pretty big kick for him, moving forward to pressure.
Go back to the first week. So the execution was great, the kick was great, but he has been consistent since we put him in camp. We've tried to simulate those the best we can with loud music, and he's been spot on. So we felt really confident in that situation. And Bramlett, as you saw, we made a bit of a change where we directionally kicked a little bit, and he was outstanding. we're pushing that ball closer to the sideline to squeeze our coverage teams into a better location. He's capable of kicking at 50 plus every time. We don't want to stretch out our coverage teams quite as much. So directionally, he was outstanding.
Just two quick ones. Does it feel like the season has flown by to you? And then secondly, facing another fellow analytic-minded coach, do you have to prepare your defense any differently to expect maybe, not necessarily the unexpected, but to be on the field longer?
Yes. Yeah, we look at all those numbers, and you know, there's some similarities there in terms of making sure our guys understand they're going to be on the field for most of the fourth down situations that are going to be occurring. So we've already had that meeting with the coordinators. Yeah, I mean, I'm enjoying the heck out of it. So when you're enjoying what you're doing, you know, it doesn't seem like it's, you know, oh my God, it's October. I mean, you know, it just feels like this is, you know, this is what I wanted to do, and it's flying by.
Hey, Coach, right here. With Ole Miss's defense, what are some notable strengths that they have, and what are some things that you guys are going to have to look out for when it comes to that unit?
Well, it's hard to know exactly where the birds line up all the time. It's 3 down, it's 3-3, 3-4. They're playing with a nickel and dime. They're playing some invert. You don't know where some of the pressures. They're striking from the field. They're striking from the boundary. So you got to be on your toes. You know, this is a week where recognition and understanding where it's coming from is going to be really important. So quarterback's going to is going to have to be on it. He's going to have to slide the right way. Our back's going to have to go coast to coast in some of their read progressions. There's got to be a better attention, you know, in that regard, where sometimes when you're in 4 down, you know where the overload blitz is coming from, you know, from 4 down situations, because you got to tip it. So you got to lock in on safeties. You know, you got to look for the tells. This just is a week where you got to really do a really good job against them. Good. All right. Thank you.
All right. Let's go to Lane Kiffin.
Come back and watch college football all season long, live and cable-free with YouTube TV.
Where your shipping address types itself. Where all your tabs go, everywhere you go. Where you can...
Recap of the game. I do really enjoy how we finished. I'm very proud of him for that. That's not always been the case this year or over the years. Even when we win games, you know, we give them the ball back by not doing a very good job in 4-minute situations, including that team right there. That last time they were in the stadium, we had the ball with a chance to win. So that was really good to come out after the delay to stop them, you know, when they're in 4 down situations, which is always hard. They made actually 2 4th downs during that drive, and we eventually stopped them and got the ball back and didn't give them the ball. So that was good. I mean, obviously there was run issues. You know, both sides getting bad for us offensively was really good to have that many yards rushing, and 300-yard rushers is a lot of people doing things right, not just the offensive line, and not very many negative runs at all. With, I mean, besides Tunis, 67 carries. The other side, very, very poor job of giving up explosive runs. You know, we've been pretty good. But, you know, it was a good win. Went home against a program we'd not won against in 6 years. It's always cool to break streaks and continue our home streak. I thought the crowd was really good. You know, obviously we lost some at the lightning delay, but prior to that, it was good, and you know, created a lot of energy to start the game. And went up 21-0, whatever, 17 minutes into the game or something.
Lane, with how explosive and dominant the running game was on Saturday between the running backs and also Jackson, obviously, you know, you can't expect to get 400 yards and that amount of touchdowns all the time with those guys, but how sustainable do you think, like, an above average level of production could be with, with that group?
Well, obviously you got to be realistic in any level, but especially the SEC, that's not going to happen. And, whatever they said, that's, I think, the most yards in 10 years or something in SEC versus SEC games. So we've had two really explosive run games, in Georgia Tech and in that game. But, we've got to be consistent, run the ball really well. The numbers aren't going to be like that every week. And, people coach. And so they gear up to stop certain plays once you run them. So it's not like you're just running normal inside zone and making all those yards. There were a lot of schematical perimeter runs and crack blocking and things in there that, people will coach up. You don't get to, just keep running the same plays and they work very long, in my opinion.
When you guys reviewed the film, were you able to pinpoint anything specific that was going wrong with the run defense, or was it kind of just a lot of different things?
Yeah, I think we started really well. I want to say 4 series in a row to start the game, and and then we jumped out of some gaps and we missed some tackles, and that's usually what goes on in the run game for explosive runs. And we have a lot of people up there, and so when it breaks, they break bad. In what we were doing, because we were up there a lot because of the run and because of the quarterback we were playing. And so the problem with that is when it breaks, there's not a lot of people back there.
LSU's got another quarterback that likes to run. You guys have struggled a little bit against those dual threat guys. What are the challenges you've seen so far about Jaden Daniels?
I thought he played great the other night, running and throwing, and have seen him before. When he was transferring and stuff, just seeing him over time, and very explosive player. And then they seem to got the receivers going, and really were great on third down and great in general, whenever they were throwing the ball.
You guys have started redshirt freshman tackles the last few weeks. How would you kind of evaluate where those guys are at now?
I think they've done really well. I think last week was a big test, for them. I guess that'd be their third start together, and to play against some really good players. So they did really well and protected the quarterback well and really did good in the run game.
Through 3 SEC games, his first SEC games, how would you kind of evaluate Jackson at this point?
Yeah, I think Jackson's done a really good job. Running the system within the system. You don't see a bunch of screwed up plays or formations or, where it looks like he's going the wrong way or the back is. And a lot of that's, him communicating this stuff because of how we run the system and how fast it has to go. So I think he's done a great job with that. The interception was a freak interception. So I think he's done a really good job. This will be a real atmosphere and crowd noise, and for our guys to go into, and with that's a lot of challenges of just staying focused and doing things really well, and it'll be very challenging.
What are your memories of, or does anything stand out about your past matchups against Brian Kelly from those USC Notre Dame days?
Not really. I mean, I think they won both times out in the Coliseum. We won when we went there to play. Both times our backup quarterback was playing when they won, but they actually we had a chance in a goal line where we can make 4 plays in a row, and they won the game, and ended up going to the national championship.
Along those lines, just kind of what are your past experiences in Tiger Stadium? Teams have gone there and kind of gotten out of their element a little bit when they've played there. How do you also kind of prevent that a little bit?
I mean, we just got to stay focused and play each play and do your job. And, like you said, a lot of teams have performed not very well there. They've got a great winning record over the years there. Their crowd understands football and is into it. And much as any place that you go. So played some really challenging games there.
After going over the film, what would be your assessment of the tight end play on Saturday?
I think Casey did a great job. He played a ton of snaps, and he played 80 snaps or something, which is too much. And
when you're busy dealing with groceries, you can miss a few things. See, you missed that, didn't you? With Walmart Plus in-home, an associate delivers and puts away your groceries, whether you're home or not. Hey, Leah. Hi, Mike. No tips, no markups, no worries.
Right now at NTB, save $140 instantly on 4 select Michelin tires. Only at NTB.
But he's a competitor, warrior, had a big block on, the run that broke right before the lightning delay for the touchdown. And very competitive and was a big part of the game plan, even though the statistics don't show it in catching. But as you saw, a lot of different types of blocks.
Lane, we talk about how successful the running game has been with those two guys this year, and you talked about Jackson's progression through the last couple of weeks, and he's still relatively new. I mean, in his first year here, just getting that gig a few weeks ago. In the event that, the running game was really shut down, like based on whoever you play, if the defense really schemed up for to shut down the running game, how confident would you be in kind of letting Jackson cook back there and slinging it?
Well, I think just 2 games ago that happened a little bit. We were struggling at Vanderbilt, with some run stunts up front and what they were doing, and Jackson threw for 450 yards or something. So we're very confident. Every game's independent. Every game plan is different every week, and I think we're a little unique that way, and you kind of never know what you're going to see when you play us. We don't just run a system. I'm not saying which way is bad or good. I'm just saying we change a lot. Obviously, year to year, but even week to week. So we just always try to give our players the best chance to win.
And you sent out that tweet a couple nights ago of you in the Tennessee office, and got a lot of buzz on Twitter. What was kind of the reasoning behind that?
I don't know. I guess in here the other day I say I overthink things. Sometimes I underthink things. There was not a lot. A lot of times people just send me something, and it was the week of that game, and someone sent it kind of as a joke to me, whatever. So I just tweeted it.
I was going to ask, how much of that game did you end up watching? Did you watch any Alabama-Tennessee?
I did. I mean, I sent a tweet, as they were lining up for the field goal. And the guy did jump through to block it, so it was kind of eerie right there. But I didn't, the beginning I didn't catch because we were finishing up here with recruiting and stuff. But, exciting game. And it's just that's football, like a game goes either way, just like we get in those games like Kentucky. And so it's just always kind of funny for me to see fans and everybody,
Let's go ahead and switch this out. Also, this concludes tonight's Sports Talk with Kerry Wehmeyer show. We'll be back on tomorrow for Tulane and Memphis. So we will preview that game tomorrow. So once again, everybody have a good rest of your Monday night, and we'll see you again tomorrow.